The Avengers, which debuted in 1961, was characterized by its indelible style, its mix of mystery and sophistication, and its innovative approach to television narrative. But among its numerous iconic moments, there was one notorious scene that stood out, not because of the excellence that generally marked the show, but for transgressing boundaries in a manner that was too much for audiences and networks to handle. The fallout was so intense that it contributed to the end of the show's original run. What was it about this moment that made it so unforgettable, and why did it spark such fierce backlash? Could this single scene hold secrets that even the most dedicated fans never expected? To get it, we have to go back to the start, to the problems, successes, and cultural currents that transformed The Avengers and its trajectory from humble crime drama to revolutionary cultural icon. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel Spark Science, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. When The Avengers initially debuted on television, it was quite different from the hip, dreamlike show that eventually emerged. It started humbly as a simple crime drama, with a focus on gritty plotting and serious characters. By the mid-1960s, though, it had evolved into something altogether braver, a high-octane spy thriller of surreal flavor that intertwined espionage, satire, and science fiction in a manner audiences had not experienced before. This new boldness made the show one of the most ambitious of its era, but with ambition comes cost, and beneath the sheen were building tensions. Producers, actors, and writers frequently disagreed over where the show was headed, with those disagreements occasionally jeopardizing the very existence of the production. One of the first and most critical moments of tension involved the key casting shakeup in 1965. Honor Blackman, who had been playing the witty and assertive Kathy Gale, had left the series. To take her place, the production hired Diana Rigg as Emma Peel, and her arrival defined nothing short of a new era for the show. With Rigg on board, The Avengers took on a more cinematic tone. Detailed fight choreography, crisper dialogue, quicker pacing, and intricate storylines became the norm. However, with this change came conflicts behind the scenes. Some authors wanted to expand into more futuristic, experimental narratives relying on surrealism, while others desired to maintain the saucy repartee and playful humor that had characterized the earlier John Steed and Kathy Gale relationship. These disparate visions tended to slow down production and created bitter arguments. For Diana Rigg herself, the process was also difficult. A traditionally trained actress with a solid theater background, she anticipated that Emma Peel would be handled as an equal to Patrick Macnee's John Steed. Initially, though, producers were inclined toward showcasing her as a glamorous sidekick or romantic accessory. Rigg fought hard, demanding that Peel be an authentic partner, able to engage in intellectual repartee and physical feats. Her tenacity was causing arguments in the offices of production, where some were worried that assigning too much importance to a female character in a male-oriented genre could disrupt the balance. But Rigg's perseverance finally prevailed. Emma Peel became television's most powerful female action heroine, respected for her intelligence, autonomy, humor, and toughness. But then another issue arose, one with absolutely nothing to do with character and everything to do with equity. As a co-lead, Rigg learned that she was earning much less than Patrick Macnee. Outraged by the disparity, she insisted on equal compensation. The issue soon made headlines, embarrassing the producers and prompting them to enhance her contract. Although she eventually negotiated improved terms, the acrimony of the struggle hung over her, and in 1968 she chose to depart from the series. Her departure was a watershed, but it was not the sole difficulty. Patrick Macnee, the sole standing figure of the Avengers, who performed the unruffled John Steed, battled his own problems. Known for his charm and professionalism, he was well liked by many, but rumors suggested that not all co-stars found him easy to work with. Honor Blackman occasionally found his humor irritating, which caused frostiness between them. With Diana Rigg, the tension was different, stemming more from questions of creative control. Macnee had been the show's face for a long time, but with Rigg's immense popularity, the focus was no longer only on him. This resulted in competition for screen time and plot superiority. Nevertheless, both the actors were professional, and in subsequent years they remembered working together fondly and with respect. Linda Thorson's casting as Tara King after Rigg left was another make-or-break moment. Producers yearned for a younger, more conventionally feminine presence, something different from Emma Peel's urbane sophistication. Thorson did not have the experience, though, and entering such an iconic character constituted a tremendous burden. Her chemistry with McNay never equaled the electricity of previous couplings, and critics were quick to describe it as such. At the same time, the tone of the series itself started to falter, awkwardly switching between serious and frivolous, never really recapturing the earlier accuracy. Ratings declined, networks stepped in more aggressively, and the delicate balance of satire, spy work, and surreality that had made the series so distinctive started to be more difficult to maintain. To fully appreciate how the series came apart, it is useful to recall how it came together. In the early 1960s, British television was on the threshold of a golden age. The BBC and the newer independent television companies were venturing risks with innovative, imaginative schemes, providing audiences with more than the traditional detective or soap opera-ish fare. Sidney Newman, a Canadian producer with a reputation for brilliance, had already proved himself with armchair theatre. By 1960, he was intent on going further, crafting a spy thriller with sophistication and humor that diverged from the hard-boiled detective tropes that filled screens. This was the germ that became the Avengers. By the point at which Diana Rigg joined in 1965, the show was prepared to take off. Emma Peel, sophisticated, intelligent, and expert in martial arts, was not only a partner to Steed but also a female icon. Their relationship, based on banter, subtle romantic tension, and mutual admiration, was central to the series' success. Unlike most female characters of the era, Peel was not only capable of saving herself but often saved the day. The surrealist touch added during her tenure, with bizarre villains, strange experiments, and fantastical plots, made the Avengers one of the most stylish and influential series of the 60s. But as the 60s expired, the cracks were starting to appear. Low ratings, in-house battles, and network interference all eroded the magic. And then there was the infamous moment. During its broadcast lifespan, the Avengers had fed on defying conventions, blending elegance, action, and satire. But towards the end, one moment pushed the envelope too far. This episode has been the subject of rumor ever since it was speedily withdrawn from circulation. Surviving reports imply that it had a more sinister tone than normal, with suggestions of psychological sadism or political overtones being out of place with the light-hearted style audiences were used to. It was either the disturbing realism of the scene or the clandestine social commentary, they claim, that unsettled viewers, thus making broadcasters anxious. Whatever it said, it lacked the playful remove that permitted the series' violence and oddity to remain within the bounds of acceptability. Rather, it was too raw, too real. Coming at a time when British authorities were cracking down on TV violence, and American networks such as ABC feared conservative backlash, this was enough to send alarm signals. Executives feared a scandal, advertisers pulled back, and the episode was banned before it could air widely. Though some regional broadcasts slipped through, no official copies survived syndication. The secrecy only fueled rumors. What exactly happened in that scene? Fans speculated for decades, but the truth remained hidden, adding to the show's mystique. Alas, the storm hit at the worst time. Already reeling from cast defections and creative fall-off, the Avengers was unable to resist the blow. Critics assailed the series for losing its chic wit in favor of tacky shock, and audiences wandered off. Networks lost faith, advertisers withheld support, and by the late 60s, the series was over. But its impact could not be wiped away. Even when it was cancelled, the Avengers continued as a cultural force. Its influence extended beyond fashion, with Steed's bowler hat and umbrella symbolizing British fashion, and the leather catsuits and mod designs of Gale and Peel being copied by trends and designers. Worldwide, it paved the way for subsequent British shows to find international success, showing that UK television could appeal worldwide. Above all, It reinterpreted gender roles on TV by turning Kathy Gale and Emma Peel into trailblazing female action heroines who inspired an entire generation. The myth of the censored scene was incorporated into its history, transforming scandal into myth. Reboot efforts followed in 1976 with the new Avengers, featuring Patrick